Live from the top of the beautiful towers at Merle Hay Mall, all 6 stories of it, it's FaithWorks Live with host Michael Damastis.
I'm so glad that you're joining us today. It's Tuesday. It's Life Day. And here we are, FaithWorks Live, another episode. I'm joined in the studio by my daughter-in-law, Rachel Damastis. And I want to tell you about something. I need your help with something. My daughter-in-law and I have been working pretty hard for quite a while. Honestly, it began officially on Mother's Day, but for us, it actually began even before that, where we had planning and we had a video. But here's the deal. You know that my daughter-in-law works at Agape Pregnancy Center, and Agape Pregnancy Center does some amazing ministry. They do great things, and I'm so excited to be able to help and be a partner and support them. But they are in need of a new ultrasound machine. And so what we have been doing since Mother's Day is we have been trying to raise funds for them. $25,000 is what they're trying to get, to be able to get a new to them ultrasound machine. The one they have is a little dated. The technology has gotten better over time, and so they would like to get another ultrasound machine. And so listen, guys, this is not a big thing comparably. There's organizations out there like, yeah, I'll write you a $60,000 check. I'll do whatever. But for Agape, who is a smaller organization who has worked very, very hard, very efficiently on very limited funds, frankly, and in comparison to other ministries that are out there, they have done an amazing job with the resources that have been provided to them. And so they are great stewards and being able to do great ministry, big things with little. And so I want to help them, and I want you to help them as well. And so here's what I'm asking you. On the week of July 31st, which is a Monday, through August 4th, which is a Friday, that entire week, every day at FaithWorks Live, we're going to have I don't know. What do we call it?
Pledge drive would be
pledge drive. Okay, that'd be fine. We genuinely are going to be spending every day of that week where you can call in, and we're going to be wanting you to give money towards this project of helping Agape raise 20. I wanted to call it an Agapathon, but I was shot down because I think Agapathon sounds awesome. But anyway, so we're going to raise funds for Agape. $25,000 is what we're going to try to raise that week to be able to help them do ministry more efficiently and better. And so be praying about that. That's coming up. I mean, it's a ways away. We're talking over a month away yet. But we're working hard. My daughter-in-law and I have been actually going and approaching individuals and businesses and talking to them about coming on board and being a part of this as well. And so just be praying for us as we continue to do that, and be praying about your part in that week that's coming up at the end of July. And that's great. Now, as I said, today is Life Day, and in studio with me today is a very wonderful person by the name of Emily Graber, and she is director the right word?
Co-founder.
That sounds even better. She is the co-founder of an organization called Help a Heart, and Help a Heart is an incredible ministry. Organization. I say ministry, but that's because in essence you are ministering to people. But for sure. Emily, tell me about Help a Heart. Just give us a quick synopsis of what it is that organization is. Tell me about what it is that you do.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Super honored and privileged to be a part of this show, and excited for where it will lead. But Help a Heart was founded by myself and Melissa Hooper, who's going to be on the show in a little bit, back in 2006. Both Melissa and I have sons that were born with congenital heart defects. And we both were diagnosed while we were pregnant.
Wow.
And we actually met in the hospital in Iowa City. We were over in Iowa City for my son's first surgery and her son's first surgery. And we met just, in the halls and got introduced and just became fast friends. And that fall, she shared with me kind of, a vision she had for an organization to provide financial assistance to people going through similar things like we just went through, extended hospital stays, facing just medical bills, and just not only medical bills, but the other expenses associated with being in the hospital, like eating out all the time and staying at the Ronald McDonald House or the Rossi House. Just those things. We both had super supportive communities and families and friends, and we just know that not everyone is always that lucky. And even if they are lucky to have supportive family and friends, not everyone always has the financial resources to help you out. And our goal was really to make it so that people could be there with their child when they were in the hospital. And so we had to set just a guideline when we first started of giving $50 a week for every week they're in the hospital. It starts after 2 weeks because we feel like that's kind of your minimum stay. And then after that, it kind of starts to get hard.
Right.
The financial part gets hard, and you sometimes have to go back to work and things like that. But we call them heart families. Okay. So congenital heart defects affect 1 in every 100 births. And it can be anything from a hole in the heart, which is like a VSD or an ASD, to hypoplastic right or left heart syndrome.
Okay, so you threw out those terms.
Yep.
VSD, ASD.
Yep.
Tell us what those terms mean.
Okay, so a VSD is a ventricular septal defect, which is a hole between the two ventricles, and ASD is the same thing in the atrium. Okay. So those would be pretty common heart defects. And so the 1 in 100, like I said, my son was born with hypoplastic right heart syndrome, which is where his right ventricle didn't develop, and Melissa's son Dylan was born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which is where his left ventricle didn't develop. So in our kids' cases, they're called single ventricles because you and I have 2 pumping chambers, and our kids only have 1.
Wow.
So that's, like I said, the complexity of heart defects really ranges. There's a lot of heart defects, and honestly, even within each defect, everyone will say, well, it's, tetralogy of Fallot. Sorry to throw out big words.
No, that's okay.
But it's tetralogy of Fallot, but it's, they've got this and this and this, so it's different. They all say it's really different. And I feel like a lot of people say that the doctors and nurses are always just dealing with very unique cases in almost every situation. So that was kind of our initial vision, was that we just wanted to help people be able to be there, because we saw kids that were there by themselves. And when you're there for a month or 2 months, Melissa can speak to this more because Dylan spent more time in the hospital than my son did, but obviously logistically you have to go back. Sometimes you have kids or, like I said, your job. It's not about, not wanting to be there. It's about needing to go back home. So that's kind of how we started.
And that's an amazing thing. And I think that honestly, what I've found is a lot of ministry happens that way, where all of a sudden a person understands because of their own personal experience, there's a real need for something like this. And so what an amazing thing. And one of the reasons, and I just want to throw this out here, one of the reasons that I'm thinking that this is such a good fit for what we do on Life Tuesday, because our listeners might be like, well, this doesn't sound very pro-life. Are you kidding me? Seriously? We're talking about who has not been impacted by seeing a child laying in a hospital bed. And knowing that if I could pay any amount of money, if I could do anything at all to take the place of that child, to not have that child be there, I mean, that I can't think of a larger concern for life than this. And what an awesome thing, because this isn't just about you guys dealing with this in terms of we have kids that have a heart defect. You're looking at a holistic approach to a family. You're looking at mom and dad, and you're wanting to minister to them as well in the midst of what is a horribly traumatic scenario that they find themselves in. Nobody wants to be in this position.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can step in and offer just, hey, let me take the lunch burden off of you, or let me help out with the gas part of this, or whatever that might be. What a blessing.
Yeah, I think that one of the big things that we do is on surgery days we try to provide meals, Jimmy John's, or sorry, I probably can't say brand names.
Yeah, say it.
Jimmy John's or Papa John's Pizza. Because, one of the things I remember was my family all showing up at the hospital and being there on surgery day, and no one wants to leave the waiting room because you don't want to leave the waiting room, and you don't necessarily know the hospital or where to go.
Right.
And so then you're all sitting there and people are getting hungrier and hungrier. But then the problem is that when your child comes out of surgery, you definitely don't want to eat then, because then you're actually, able to be with your child again.
Right.
So, we kind of started that after we had both gone through surgeries, and we were like, this is something that would be really great. And that's honestly been a great way, because not only does that minister to the parents, but, the grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins. I mean, all those people are affected by this, because it's really hard to watch, just like you said, it's hard to watch a child go through any of this, let alone someone that's related to you.
I can attest that it is awesome having Jimmy John's or Papa John's waiting for you while you're waiting for somebody to get out of the surgery.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? Except maybe my son. He hates Jimmy John's. But there's that. And you can attest to that. But right. I just see this as a powerful thing, that you're genuinely coming up, literally, like Moses is having to hold up his arms. You're kind of coming up beside these families, and you're helping them in this trial, in this circumstance. And it's not like you're taking away the giant burden that they're experiencing. Yeah. But you're just your presence and the little blessing of saying, don't worry about this thing. We got this covered. Yeah. That says so much, and it's such a powerful thing. And how many years ago was it that you guys began this? So our sons were both born in 2005. Okay. So my son is 12. And we started in 2006. In May of 2006 was when we got our tax approval to be a 501c3. And then our first event, our first dinner and silent auction, was June 1st of 2005 or 2006, which was actually Melissa's son Dylan's first birthday. So, we did not know what we were doing at all. And, but God just provided, people for us and finances. And I mean, the night before our first auction, we pulled an all-nighter because we had no idea what we were doing. But I think that's, what we're called to do. And you had said earlier about like a ministry. And it's so funny because my son Gabe will say, Help a Heart wouldn't exist, Mom, if I wasn't here. And I'm like, well, it might, but I wouldn't probably be a part of it, because you're right. Heart defects don't really matter to you until you're affected by it personally. Right. And that's something we say to our families when they come. We're always like, welcome. We're so glad. We're so sad you're here, but welcome. What a powerful thing. What a powerful thing to be able to step into the midst of a horrible circumstance, to come alongside a family that's going through a nightmare, and just to be a blessing and a help to them. I'm so excited to learn more about Help a Heart and learn from Emily Graber on this wonderful thing that they're doing. You're listening to Faith Works Live, and I am your host, Michael Damastis, and I'm so glad that you're joining us today. It's Tuesday, it's Life Day, and in the studio with me is my daughter-in-law, Rachel Damastis, also Emily Graber with Help a Heart, and we've been listening to her talk about their organization, how they formed, what they do, and I have to tell you, just I'm going to toss it over to my daughter-in-law here in just a second, but just the idea of having, somebody that's nobody really gets excited about. You throw out the word congenital heart defect. That's not like, I don't know. But everybody can understand seeing a little baby, a little child in a hospital bed. This should not be there. Did you hear her say this in the last segment? 1 in 100 births have some kind of a congenital heart defect. That is crazy. And so that's why this is such a valuable, important organization. And they've got something cool coming up. They do. Emily had mentioned it. So this organization is called Help a Heart, and it's a support group for families of children and loved ones with these heart defects. So will you speak a little bit to this event and what we can expect and where it's at? Yep, absolutely. Our mission is to provide technical mission is to provide financial assistance and emotional support to families of Iowa families of kids born with congenital heart defects. So it was important to us when we planned our first fundraiser, and it's just kind of carried on that it be a family-friendly event, because we knew we wanted kids there so people could see these kids, because some look like there's nothing
wrong with them, and they run around like crazy people. And that's so encouraging. And I mean, obviously as a mom, I mean, I can remember having a baby, but coming to events and seeing a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old, you know, now my son's 12. So the hope that can provide to other families and just to the people coming to the event too. So we are excited. Our 12th annual Celebration of Life is what we've called it the whole time.
Wow.
Dinner and silent auction is coming up on June 26th, next week, Monday. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. and it's at Walnut Creek Church in Windsor Heights. They have a gymnasium there that we use. It's 964th Street. The auction, we have over 100 auction items, autographed items, custom, wood bag boards and different little like kids furniture, just variety of different donations, lots and lots of gift certificates to Des Moines area kind of fun family things. So we also have a princess there. Moana is coming from Little from Party with the Princess. And the Justice Corps of Iowa is providing 4 superheroes: Superman, Firestorm, Red Hood. I'm not going to remember the 4th one.
Oh, you did good. Yeah, you did good.
Spider-Man.
I don't think Spider-Man's going to be there.
Okay.
And then we also have the Maniac from the Des Moines Menace. He's the soccer ball. And we have a photo booth, so we have great pictures of the kids with all these characters. I mean, we haven't had these specific characters in the past always, but so it's super family friendly. Yes. Yes. Tickets are only $10 for adults and then $5 for kids ages 4 through 10. And then we have a soda bar too, which is super fun. So we have like Green Rivers and like old fashioned cherry cokes, things like that. So something, it's so funny because my friends will be like, I haven't drank so much pop in my life as when I come to this auction every year. And it's also catered by Jethro's, which we were just talking about over the break.
Awesome.
Jethro's, pulled pork, mac and cheese, applesauce, and then cupcakes made by Cakespiration out of Sheldal. So super. It's just we have a family that shares their story at the event, and there's a slide. We have a photo video kind of slideshow of a lot of families. We have over 200 families in our support group network. And while some of them are in the central Iowa area, some of them, they're all over Iowa. But we've helped families that have gone, probably to 10 or 15 different hospitals out of state. And we have, it's a really fun night. We try to keep it, like I said, we bring all the kids up on stage. So we really want people to see the kids that have been affected by this and the families. And, this is open to anyone. You don't have to be affected by congenital heart defects to come. I guarantee you there's something on that listing that everyone would want or would need, dare I say need. And it's over by, the auction bidding closes at 7:45. One of the other kind of competition things we do is we have an Iowa and Iowa State corner that has everything like half Iowa State, half Iowa. And then we kind of, we see which team raises the most money, and then we'll play their fight song at the end of the night.
Oh, very good.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes. So there's that.
Walnut Creek Church is where this is hosted, and Pastor Terry Amon is a great friend, and it's a great church, great mindset, and they are definitely a church that's big on life, and that's part of who they are, and so I love it that they're hosting this. It makes it's not a surprise to me at all to see that, and I love that. Yeah,
it's amazing because we used to have it downtown at the Mercy East Tower. There's an auditorium there, but that only seats around 180 people.
Sure.
And we outgrew that, and so we really needed another venue, but it's really hard to find a big venue that you don't have to pay a lot of money for. And we had a family connect with them, and they offered to do it for us for free. And we've been there now, I think 4 or 5 years, and it's just been a godsend to be there because it's a perfect facility for us, and it's right off 235, so people kind of know where it's at, and easy to get to. So we're really appreciative that they're willing to host it every year.
If you jump off 235 on the 63rd Street exit there, it's just on the north side of the road, and just about a block over basically. And so it's fantastic. But I am so just happy to hear about the things that you do. Now you mentioned sometimes you come in and be there on surgery day. Are there other times that you would come in and visit families and be with them if they got extended stays in the hospital?
Absolutely. With the power of social media, the world's gotten a lot smaller, and we can and people through word of mouth or through maybe their OB or through the cardiologist will hear about us and connect with us. So when we know that they're in the hospital, we will go and drop off a care package or go visit them. It's just kind of being in the hospital for a long period of time is hard. I'm a super social person, but even me, when I'm in the hospital, sometimes I don't want to, sit down with someone for an hour and talk to them, especially when you're going through something hard with your kids. So we just try to stop in and offer whatever support we can. And like I said, drop off goodie bags for the kids, siblings, and then the parents to give them a Starbucks card or a coffee card, something like that, so they can go out and just do something that get away for a little bit.
Sure.
So yeah, we do. We try to do that about once a month. We usually only visit though Mercy here in Des Moines or Stead Family Children's Hospital in Iowa City.
Okay, so Mercy here in Des Moines, you say, and then Iowa City, the Children's Hospital
are the main two hospitals we visit.
Okay, All right. Well, that's very interesting. I think it's just kind of overwhelming to learn about your organization, and just I still am kind of dealing with that number, 1 in 100 births. People are having to walk this path that they never in a million years. I mean, we all imagine that a lady gets a positive pregnancy test. It's a wonderful thing for a young family, and just all these bright hopes and dreams and wonderful thoughts, and then all of a sudden you find out, no, there's something wrong. Mm-hmm. And just the hardness of that, and the coldness of that, and knowing that you guys bring light and warmth and help into that very difficult, trying circumstance is a wonderful, wonderful blessing. Emily, thank you for coming here, and we're going to hear from some more representatives with Help a Heart when we come back from our break. I hope that you see this as a valid ministry, something that you want to get behind.
It's Mikey, he's better than TV. We're listening to Mikey, and best of all, it's free.
Oh yeah, that's my mother-in-law, Linda Curry, writing the jingles. She's awesome. This is FaithWorks Live. I'm your host, Michael Damastis. And if you're like me, you are tired of the way that people bicker and argue about politics. Well, what's worse, you're discouraged by leaders who abandon their principles to play political games. Surely there has to be a better way to lead our country. There is. I want to tell you about an encouraging and inspiring event that's challenging us to rethink what it means to stand for principle over politics. The Family Leadership Summit in Des Moines, Iowa on July 15th is an annual get-together of thousands of Americans with a heart for God and a heart for America. People who go to this summit consistently come back saying how encouraged they are to know that they're not alone, that so many are yearning and working toward an honest-to-goodness revival in our nation. It's the church doing what the church is supposed to be doing, not afraid of government, but not playing politics either. It's the church standing up to speak biblical truth to power, principle over politics. The summit speakers this year come from the spheres of government, entertainment, and the church, each discussing how to navigate leadership while staying true to your values. The speaker list includes George Barna, counselor to the President Kellyanne Conway, the Benham brothers, Pastor Jim Garlow, U.S. Senators Chuck Grassley and Joni Ernst, and more. So won't you join me for a day of faith-affirming, culture-changing inspiration? To find out more, go to thefamilyleadershipsummit.com. That's thefamilyleadershipsummit.com. Now, today's Tuesday, today's Life Day, and we have a group of folks that are here at the studio with us, and we've been talking for the last half hour with Emily Graber, who is one of the co-founders of an organization known as Help a Heart. And now in studio with us is Melissa Hooper. And she is the other individual that Emily referred to, who said that when she met her when she went to have her first surgery, and you were there at the same time having your child's first surgery on their heart.
Yep.
And that's how you two met.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
Instant connection.
And so, Melissa, you when you found out you were having an ultrasound that your child had this congenital heart defect.
It started out with just the regular 20-week ultrasound in our OB, and they found that he had situs inversus, so his stomach was on the wrong side. And they told us, complications can arise from that. It was not life-threatening, but they wanted us to see a specialist just so we knew kind of what to expect and where to go from there. So we went straight from his office to the next office and did another ultrasound. And my husband and I were sitting there, and it was about an hour into the ultrasound, and we thought, gosh, this is taking so much longer than we really thought it would. And the doctor looked at us, and, throughout the ultrasound, we kind of talked about our other two boys, and, they were healthy and happy and doing well. And he looks up from the ultrasound, and he looks at my husband and I, and he asks first if we're related. And we said, no. And he said, well, this baby has a lot of anomalies. He had a lot of other things other than just the stomach, and asked if we would consider terminating my pregnancy.
Wow.
And at
Before
the
you knew
exact same
anything.
time. Yeah, before we didn't know anything. At this point, we just knew that his stomach was on the wrong side. And we were both floored because the first doctor told us it was not life-threatening. So we thought, why would we even be asked this? The blessing in it is that my husband and I both answered at the exact same time that it wasn't an option, that, God had given us this baby, whether we had the baby for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 years. This was our baby, and we were going to take him for as long as we got.
So, Melissa, how many young couples in a similar scenario do you think are counseled by doctors or even just told you should have an abortion?
I have no idea. I hate to even think about it.
Do you think it's a common thing, though?
Maybe. I mean, it just caught me so off guard because there was really no discussion about what else was wrong. At that point, we just knew about his stomach.
You were going in for a normal ultrasound.
Yes.
You were halfway through your pregnancy.
Yes.
That this was not what you had expected at all.
No.
And I got to say, kudos to you. What a courageous thing for you and your husband to just look this guy in the face and say, no way. That's not even on the table. God has given us this child, and we are walking this path no matter what. And that's a very courageous thing. And I thank you for making that choice. So tell us about Dylan.
Okay. So Dylan was the most amazing little boy I've ever met. Sorry. He was born June 1st of 2005, and he did have lots of things wrong. I mean, he had 2 extra toes, 1 on each foot. He had the situs inversus that we knew. He had an extra little finger on one of his hands, and he did have hypoplastic left heart syndrome. But the most beautiful baby. And he, I describe him as, I've never met anyone else that when you look into their eyes, it looks like they're looking at your soul.
Yeah.
So Dylan actually was 3 when he passed away, but during his first surgery, his vocal cords got damaged. So he never actually spoke, but you always knew what he was thinking or what he wanted. I've never met anyone like that. He would put his hand on your face and
he found a way to communicate.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And so, through him, my older 2 boys just learned compassion and learned to love and learned to let go. It was a long road. He spent half of his 3 years in the hospital. So it was a long road, not only for us, for him, but for our other 2 children. And I remember the morning that he was going to pass, we brought our other 2 boys into the room. They were 5 and 9. And we had brought our pastor in with us, and I said, if they have questions, I don't know if I can answer. I don't know if I'll be able to tell them what's happening. And my favorite line is I told them, and my 9-year-old son, who is now 18, looked at me and said, so God's going to be his new daddy.
Oh, jeez.
And I said, you're right, buddy. Like, and it was just that simple. I mean, the faith of a child, like, it was no question to them. They went in, they said goodbye, and that was all there was. It wasn't a struggle at the time. Of course, they've struggled since. They miss him. And it has been, hard at times, but they're amazing. My son, he's playing his last year of baseball for high school, and he has his brother's name written inside his hat. He plays every game for him. And can I tell you another quick story?
Yep.
I want you to know, like, when you have a child like this, their legacy doesn't end. Their impact on life doesn't end. I have a now 7-year-old daughter, and she was born the year after Dylan passed. So I actually got pregnant with her after Dylan passed. And one night I was putting her to bed when she was maybe 2 or 3, and she started giggling, and she goes, "Mommy, Dylan was a really nice boy, wasn't he?" And I said, "Yeah, honey, he was a nice boy." And she said, "Remember that time he held my hand?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't," because she wasn't born yet. And she said, "Yeah, Mommy, you and Daddy were both wearing dresses." And she giggled again. Well, I had a C-section with her, and my husband had shoulder surgery the day before she was born. So he couldn't wear the scrubs. So we both had gowns on. And she said, "Mommy, Dylan held my hand the day you both wore dresses." So we truly believe he picked her for us. And he still lives on in our house daily. Our kids still talk about him. She draws him in every single picture that she draws of our family. And so he does live on. Even though he's not here in the physical presence, he's here with us every single day.
And he obviously had a great mama who fought for him every single day and has continued on his legacy and helped so many other kids at the exact same time. And that's amazing.
So, Melissa, I want to thank you for sharing this story. And that's, I know people out there that are listening are impacted like I am right now. One thing that I can say that I know is true, you didn't hear Dylan's voice, but you will. And you're going to hear it as clear and as powerful and as amazing as God meant it to be one day. And that's awesome. And I love it that he has the impact that he has. This organization, learning about what it is that you do, and I just thank you for your courage. I thank you for continuing to help other people. I'm looking forward to learning from Wendy, I think, is going to come in and join us here in our last segment. But if you want to go to help-a-heart.org, you can learn all about this organization. And even if you can't go to their fundraiser, you can give. Please do. You're listening to Faith Works Live. I'm your host, Michael Damastis. And with the constant changing of seasons, it is essential to maintain a comfortable temperature in your home. Equipped with a good working HVAC system, you can easily create a refreshing atmosphere in the summer and a cozy one in the winter. Turn to Baldwin Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for reliable heating and cooling services. As the HVAC contractor of choice in Adel, Iowa for over 100 years, rest assured that you will be provided with premier quality products and services. People choose Baldwin Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing because of their competitive rates and because they are employee-owned and operated. They provide exceptional HVAC services and are fully insured and licensed. With over a century of experience, whether you need some rusty pipes fixed or heating or cooling services for your property, you can count on Baldwin Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Their professional plumbers and HVAC specialists have the knowledge and equipment necessary to handle any and all of your needs. Give them a call today at 515-371-4036. That's 515-371-4036. We have been talking all day on this episode of Faith Works Live with an organization called Help a Heart. And we spoke with Emily Graber, one of the founders, and also with Melissa Melissa Hooper, the other founder of the organization. And now joining us for our final segment is Wendy. And you are going to tell us a little bit about your own story, plus the fact that you lead a support group, and you really kind of lead that part of the ministry. Tell me a little bit about who you are, Wendy.
Sure. I have a daughter named Mackenzie that was born with AVSD, a CHD, and I met Melissa and Emily when she was in the hospital. We got diagnosed after she was born. So we didn't know right away. And Emily brought me a meal in the hospital, and I was just really benefited by that. And it was just so helpful with the stress of surgery day. And I just really wanted to give back to Help a Heart. Like I saw all the things that they have done for several families as far as financial support and the meals on surgery day. And I just started helping out with the fundraisers and things like that. And so then after I started helping out with that, I felt like there was a need to connect the families and asked Melissa and Emily if I could start a support group under their organization. And so that's what I do. We meet the second Monday of every month at Westview Church in Waukee. And it's just a place where we can get together and share our stories, offer support for families that are going to have surgery, or those families that have had surgery, just sharing those experiences together.
Absolutely. So. Well, I've said this pastorally because I pastor a church, and there isn't any place on earth like an intensive care unit waiting room. There's a dynamic that I don't know that it can be replicated anywhere else when you're in a waiting room in a place like that. And I would think that the same is true in terms of your guys' organization, because only those who have kind of walked this path really can get it. And we can sympathize, we can even empathize with it, but to really fully feel the weight of it, unless you've been there, you don't really get it. And that's what maybe your support group does.
Yeah, that's very true. Yep, it's really hard for families and friends to understand what it's like to go through that procedure, handing your child over to the doctor and just working on their heart. Like, that's a hard thing to go through. And I think a lot of families benefit from that support, knowing that there's other families that have gone through that as well.
Absolutely. So. And the idea that you can get together and you guys can be a support and a comfort to each other through these difficult times, and more than just receiving a meal on surgery day, although that, like you said, that was a powerful moment for you because it made you, I want to help these people, made you want to jump in and be a part of this.
Right.
But just this idea of being able to gather together as a group and know that you're being able to say, yeah, that happened for me too. And yes, I know how you feel. That was a big deal for me. And you guys can share the weight of that burden. And here's the thing though, I mean, people that have this, typically, this isn't something that just goes away.
No.
It's not like you have a corrective surgery necessarily and everything's better now. I mean, this is a big deal for a long time for many people.
Yes, it is. It's something that they have to see the doctor for the rest of their life. And a lot of people think that once they have the surgery, it's all over with, and it's not true. And there's a lot of families that have other things going on besides the heart surgery. They have other things. Like my daughter had asthma as well. And so she was sick a lot, when she was younger. So there's a lot of different things that other families are that go alongside with the heart defect as well. So just, being there for each other is just, we have a really good bond, with each other. So.
And again, you guys meet at Westview Church.
Yes.
Where's that located?
That's 1155 Southeast Boone Drive in Waukee.
Okay, 1155 Southeast Boone Drive in Waukee. And you meet when?
The second Monday of every month.
The second Monday of every month.
Yes.
And if people want to know about this, and I'm assuming that to know more about the support group in general, they would want to go to the website, correct?
Yes, they could go to the website. On our website, it has the next support group date on there on the main page.
Great.
For them. And we also have a Facebook page as well.
Oh, cool.
So that has all of our information on it.
Okay, so the website is help-a-heart.org. help-a-heart.org.
Yes.
So don't type in, just help a heart. Type in help-a-heart.org, and you can learn about all of these things, the resources that are there and are available, especially the support group that meets, and where, when it's going to be. And by the way, we brought up the event that's happening next Monday.
Yeah.
It's going to be at Walnut Creek Church, and if you can't go to that, but you want to help this organization, because I do now. I want to give money, so I'll be getting online and doing this. You can go to that website, help-a-heart.org, and you can donate. There's a donate button right at the top of the page that you can click, and you can donate money to help. What an incredible organization! And if you say you're not a techie person, you're just I don't got a computer. All right. Well, if you live in a cave, then here's the other way to do it. Write to Help a Heart, and their address is P.O. Box 533, Prairie City, Iowa 50228. So that's P.O. Box 533, Prairie City, Iowa 50228, and you can send them a donation in the mail if you are still living in the 1800s. So otherwise, go to that website that we just mentioned, help-a-heart.org, and donate to this very worthwhile organization. And I want to just mention to my producer, Chris. Chris, you know a family personally that was ministered to via this ministry.
Yeah, that's basically my best friend, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Her daughter Faith has a congenital heart defect,
and they received the blessings of Help a Heart in their life, and so they saw it firsthand. You saw it firsthand. This is really how you came into this, because honestly, I wasn't aware of this organization, and Chris, you were really instrumental in setting this up.
I was pretty forceful about it.
Yeah. You kind of came to me and said, "Hey, we're going to have these guys on, so deal with it." But kind of
wasn't quite that bad.
Yeah. But I'm really thankful that you did that, and that we got to meet Emily and Melissa and you, Wendy, and to share just in what it is that you guys do. And I know our listening audience has been impacted by this as well. It's such a powerful thing. And, you were not only blessed by it, but you were like, I'm getting into this. I need to get me some of that. So you got into it because of the blessings that you received. And that's a powerful thing. Yeah. And tell me about some of these women that you see, that you get to help out. Or I shouldn't say women, but I mean, I'm sure it's more, you got a lot of women, but this is family stuff. Tell me about that.
Well, another part of our support is going to visit the families in the hospital. And so it's really a really neat feeling to walk in there and just bring them something like a Starbucks coffee card, or like just an item, something. A lot of these kids, if they are in the hospital for a long time, just bringing them books or things that they can do while they're in the hospital, because they've been in there for several days and they just don't have any other options. They've watched all the movies that they can, they've read all the books that they can, and just like those kinds of things, it's just a huge blessing to be able to give them something and to give them some hope and some just something fun for them to do instead of just sitting and waiting.
Sure.
A lot of the families that we have blessed, they have written and shared, thanked us, written letters, and so we get to see a lot of that too from them.
Well, I want to say to Emily, to Melissa, and to you, Wendy, you are heroes. That is powerful what you're doing. And thank God for Help a Heart. I hope that you've been blessed by this like I have today. Go to help-a-heart.org and help out this worthwhile organization. See you tomorrow.